it's important to protect the sacral chakra. You don't want to abuse it. And the number one way that it does get abused is over sexualization. Now, this is not to diminish anybody's libido, understand? We're not judging. What we're saying, though, is because the sacral chakra is orange, just like the orange itself, once it's void of all the juices, what happens then is that orange becomes bitter. What was sweet becomes bitter. And what was just simply nutritious only now becomes just a form of acidity. So in this crushing of the sacral chakra, what you get is a chessboard, a leopard print chessboard, furnished with the results of physical and spiritual burnout in the areas of dopamine due to pleasure overload and excessive hyperstimulation of the sacral chakra. This is what porn does. When porn is abused, it can essentially destroy, or at least shut down completely, the sacral chakra. And of course, all kinds of problems that come with that arena subsequently follow. So what happens is that chakra, which is another self, the self that is created for the expression and reception of physical human intimacy, what happens there is once the energy from that area is wasted, burnt out, and spent, this person becomes a shell of a dopamine seeker through physical contact. And I say physical contact literally because other areas of depravity can take place once pleasure for the sake of pleasure is all burnt out. Then you start to seek for pain because you're not getting any more pleasure out of pleasure because you spent all of that up. Now all you have is to seek pleasure through pain. And that starts to mess with the other chakras. So now that self, that sacral orange self, is now fragmented into an 8x8 chessboard. And now your sacral chakra becomes diminished through the means of a game. Now it becomes this strategic battle where only certain pieces can move in certain directions in certain ways, where there's a certain objective, where the game is not over until one side is no longer mobile. One side has to be immobilized, neutralized, just to bring balance, because whatever part of the sacral chakra is out of whack, which is wherever that pleasure source would be in the realm of the sensual and the sexual, that part has to be neutralized so that the scale can be balanced within that sacral chakra. And so you have all kinds of course, psychological, psychosexual problems that ensue with the abuse of the sacral. And with this, you have beta kitten programming. Put in an 8x8 matrix, a 64 square chessboard, where now this once entire made to make you whole sacral arena is now fragmented into a bunch of non-sacred, very sensual, very human, and dare I say even very primal fragmentations. So now it's like imagine if the orange were a crystal, an orange crystal glowing with sacred orange fire, and you smash it into 64 pieces. This is what essentially happens if over-sexualization takes place without the true balance of love that purifies the eros and allows that energy to go on boundless, seeing that it has been alchemized with the fulfilling of spirituality. The following are certain codes and maneuvers in regards to the leopard print chessboard. You have pawns, and they are basically the front line. So what's the front line? What's really in front of you? The front line is all the senses you take in with your eyes. So if you're dealing with a overstimulated, excessive, and abused sacral chakra, right? Technically, everything will look good. Everything will look, good in that way where you'll just be thirsting, tongue be dragging out. Everything is, you know what I mean? A person can't just look attractive. They have to, oh man, look at, you know what I mean? Have to be gawking over them. Those are pawns. That's the pawns inside of the fractured 8x8 sacral psyche due to abnormal use. That's what defines abuse. Abnormal use. Whether that be low or high too. Now, if it's not used at all, that's also abnormal. Let's provide that part too. For the sake of balance. You have knights on the chessboard that do the battling, that will do a lot of those kind of moves that are stronger, because each of these things protect the queen. Ultimately, it's the queen who has to be allowed movement, the divine feminine that has to be allowed freedom. This is what keeps the sacral chakra pure. This is the codex for the leopard print chessboard. So the knight is second in line when we're talking along the battlefield, along the leopard print chessboard of a battlefield for the sacral chakra, the sacral psyche, the sacral self, the orange dimension, right? For your vitamin C, this is how it has to be. So the knights do the fighting, and this is the part of you that feels the urge within. So now you're in knight mode. You're doing, you don't just see something you like. Now you're stepping to everything you like. You're like, what's up? Can I get your number? Can I get your number? Can I get your number? Now you in the can I get your number zone. That's the knight fractured into this 8x8 64 block shattered sacral psyche. You have rooks, which represent towers. So like, that's kind of like trying to build a foundation. Like, hey, if we ain't hooking up now, can we hook up a little later? If we ain't hooking up now, can we hook up a month from now? And you might do this 10, 15 times and have 10, 15 situations or whatever the case. That's just for an example of you building rooks and rooks being set up within the fractured sacral psyche. After the rooks, you have the bishops. So now you have what is mansion party, and now you're building an organization around it. All right, so if the sacral psyche is still not healed, it progresses into the bishop, and that's a whole different game. Now you're getting in that back row where the king and the queen are protected. So after the establishing of the rule of what it's going to be to try to change society to the point where you can do your thing so freely and openly that it would be contagious to others, and you would be triggering a feedback loop of experiences that cater to the hypersexuality that is taking place. You'll turn the whole world into the bedroom. Canopy posts, handcuffs, whips, chains, whatever goes on back there where they be at. All 50 shades of gray will be the only color spectrum in the world for the world of the shattered sacral psyche. Then you have the king that tries to put it in law, tries to make that the thing, like, okay, this is how it is, and I'm gonna stand on it for all of the, that now you try to become a symbol of it. Now you can kind of be a Hugh Hefner, like a king in that realm. Notice that the white bunny is followed throughout Playboy because it's a Luciferian concept for that degree of sexual expression. Are we saying that it means that it's evil and is trying to destroy you? This would be the perspective if you're, I guess, a Christian or, any of the Abrahamic religions per se. It's viewed that way as hedonistic, right? With the over gratification. And I'm saying it that way because there's tons of other belief systems out there, countless, who are probably calling on source also, who believe just the opposite. Through the expression of that, they're reaching higher levels of spirituality. So I'm not here to have you feel one way or the other in terms of negativity in regards to this subject that can be a pretty sensitive one. But this is just a codex to the leopard print chessboard. And then lastly, you have the queen, the divine feminine, the one who needs to move, the one who receives, the seed, the one who gives birth. What happens with an excessive addiction to things hypersexual is now you're washing out the seed, because now you're giving the plant too much water and you're drowning the seed. So now it's like, yeah, I had this idea, but it get drowned out from that excessive use of the sacral chakra. You're drowning out all of your goals and ambitions and your motivations. They have a lot of content creators who talk about semen retention. This has everything to do with restoring the sacral chakra and the whole idea of abstaining, the whole idea of celibacy, right? Voluntarily. These are for the sake of either healing, building, or strengthening the sacral region. Now, all of these things can be done simply with a change of perspective. I'm not to say that any of these practices are required. I'm a superpositionalist. So I believe that whatever a person is doing that works for them is true for them. Just like whatever I do for me that works for me with my relationship with the source becomes true for me. And we each get our own feedback loops, and we each share common things in the feedback loop where we can say source works this way. So the queen, ultimately, if you want to skip to the head of the line, if you ever feel like you are being drained in that area or strained in that area or can't maintain in that area, remember this. Start receiving all elements of nature and things around you with love. This is what's gonna give lust its proper appropriation. And it just won't be you just almost like carnivorous spirited about sex. You want to start to appreciate the little things. Start with the breeze. It's gonna be quintessentially feminine now to jump into this energy, but this is how you instantly heal it, through a change of the mentality. Enjoy the breeze, the clouds, the sun, every little element. The fact that you took a deep breath without sneezing when you may be allergic to what's out here in terms of pollen, just the fact that you didn't sneeze. Take great pleasure in that and take those little seconds to really appreciate that. You got time. Everybody has 30 seconds. That means you got 30 things that you could appreciate for 1 second at a time that don't have anything to do with the bedroom. This is how you heal the sacral psyche. Super T Sigma programming. May you be made and kept whole. Stay illuminated, people. Peace.